It is in the last class we have studied State Reorganization Act in 1956. There, Parliament passed an act called State Reorganization Act. According to this act, 14 states and 6 union territories are created. This is based on the language. What you call states are created based on language. But some of the languages are not considered by the States Reorganization Commission, that is tribal languages, which are Gondi, Santali, Oran. These are the languages spoken by very less number of people in the population. Languages spoken by majority population are taken into account, and it was thought of the government that there the languages, based on languages creating the states, would disintegrate the nation. But finally, what has happened here, states created on linguistic lines shown how a problem is given solution in democracy. It was the fear of the leaders it would break India, creating language states based on languages. But finally, what we see, linguistic reorganization of states strengthened unity and integration of India, and it did not break the India. It did not break unity of India. This was the thing we have seen. That is the States Reorganization Act. The next, another important issue is in our India, we have suffered with the political injustice. There are socio-economic inequalities. Equal opportunities were not given. So to put end to the social, economic and political inequalities, our Constituent Assembly have called for a social and economic change. This goal, the social and economic change, is a goal in the agenda of modern India, topmost goal. So to achieve modern India through socio-economic changes, there the planning commission was set up. Planning commission was set up after the inauguration of the new constitution. Today it is a constitutional day. For Nehru, who was the first prime minister, he thought planning was not only good economics but also good politics. That means Nehru wanted a planned economic development where planning commission is essential. Nehru thought that If economic position of the people increases, it also brings good politics. Nehru thought that planned development would solve the problems like caste and religion, community related problems. Casteism, one problem in India which divided people. People also divided based on religion and community and also region. There are many other disruptive and disintegrated forces in India. Untouchability. Okay, some certain region are advanced in development, some are backward. So by the regional imbalance and by the community and by the religion and caste divisions are the disruptive and disintegrated tendencies which may break unity of India. So with the planned development, Nehru wanted to put end for all these disruptive and disintegrated things to build a modern nation. So for that, with the planning commission, they have introduced 5-year plans. Today, planning commission is not there. In place of planning commission, NDA, National Democratic Alliance, with the leadership of BJP, they brought a new thing that is Niti Ayog. Now Niti Ayog is working in place of planning commission. At that time, planning commission was there. So first 5-year plan was introduced focusing on agriculture. In the first 5-year plan, a plan for developing agriculture for 5 years. It means focus was given to develop agriculture for a period of 5 years. Within the period of 5 years, there the leadership wanted to allot funds on agriculture. They stressed that the need for increasing food production. There was shortage of food in India. So they wanted to increase the food production. And there was a poor transport system and poor communication. Along with the agriculture development in the first 5-year plan, focus, that is importance, was given to development of transport and communications, and also provisions were made for social services. It also laid importance to the industries because industrialization is also one important to make India modern one very fast. But here in the first 5-year plan, the main attention was given to food, as food was the basic requirement. In basic needs, food is very essential. So all the leaders have agreed that food is the basic item. So there should be focus on increasing the food production. So everyone in a independent Indian government, they have come to one common conclusion, that to increase the food production. But there was no agreement among the leaders how to achieve this food production, how to achieve the increased food production. There were two main questions which divided the political people, that is the what to call the leadership on political opinions. That was one, we see that which is the place of agriculture in development. Development involves all aspects. It is agriculture development, industrial development, okay, then removing the water inequalities. All these, like this, many are there, right? In all these developments, which are the part of the modern development, where is the place of agriculture? Development is a big, broad concept. So, what is the place of agriculture in larger development strategy? That is the question upon which the leaders divided. And second is that how the resources should be allotted between industries and agriculture. Agriculture is very important in order to increase the food production as the food basic item, and to make India as a modern nation. Industries are very important. Industries push India into modern development very fast. So we have limited resources. So how should allocate these limited resources between industries and agriculture? That was the second question upon which there the political opinion was divided. Okay, there were two questions. One is what is the position of agriculture in a larger development strategy? Second question is that how the resources should be allotted between industries and agriculture. So these two questions upon which the political opinion got split. Nehru thought that agriculture transformation is not only an economic issue but also political, social, and economic transformation of the rural sector. Nehru thought that if agriculture is focused, agriculture will develop, and development of agriculture leads to the political, social, and economic transformation in rural sector. When agriculture develops, then income to the farmers will come regularly. As income comes to farmer regularly, it becomes economic development. So it is not only economic issue, right? Those who are economically developed, they enters into the politics, okay, and that will bring change in the social status. So Nehru thought that agriculture transformation not only economic development but also transformation of politics, social in rural sector. So finally, all the leaders have gone for what to call favored to the Nehru, and Nehru have gone for adopting three components for development. In the development strategy, in the agriculture development strategy, Nehru have given importance to the three components. How many components? Three components. One is land reforms. Second one is agricultural cooperatives. Third is local self-governments. So Nehru thought that these three components will transform the rural sector politically, economically, socially. Land reforms also important here. There are three components in these three components, we find some sub components. Under land reforms, three types of land reforms are carried. One is abolition of Jamindari system. In India, there were Jamindars who were enjoying a huge land and dominating in the locality by exploiting the peasants. So, in order to bring social change in Indian society, there is essential to remove Jamindari system. So, under land reforms, the first component there an act was passed for removing the Jamindari system. So, today there is no Jamindari system. Second component in land reforms is tenancy reforms. What is meant by tenancy reforms? It is about reforms relating to the tenant farmers. Farmers who take land on rent. Then, what is the guiding principle for tenancy farmers? So, their reforms introduced for tenancy farmers how the share should be given to the what to call persons who have given land on rent, that is tenancy reforms, in order to encourage the what tenant farmers for cultivation. Okay. And third is land ceiling act. The land ceiling act decides an upper limit of land with every individual. Earlier, zamindars were the owners of some thousands of acres of land. Today, we see that Land Ceiling Act has come. So, Land Ceiling Act limits the land with the water people. So, these three components are very essential to achieve what to call agriculture development. That is to achieve the goal increasing food production. So the primary aim of all these three components, that is abolition of Jamindari system, Tenancy Reforms Act, and Land Ceiling Act. These three components under land reforms aimed that land should be in the hands of actual tiller. Okay. Ownership rights should be there to the people who are actual tillers. If land is owned by actual tillers, then they will be motivated to increase the food production. Right? When land is under their control, then peasants will focus on increasing the food production. So these land should go into the hands of actual tiller. When it ownership rights on the land enjoyed by the peasants, it becomes an incentive for the peasants to produce more and more. Then second is agricultural cooperatives. What is mean by agriculture cooperatives? There should be cooperative banks which give loan to the water farmers to get all the inputs. Understand? The valuable inputs like seeds, then manure, fertilizers. All these are essential for peasants who are very poor. With them, there is no what to call capital. So to buy all these things, they need money. So money is not at all with them. So they need loans. Earlier, money lenders have given loan on high rate of interest. Now, in place of money lenders, their cooperative banks were established, and these cooperative banks provide loans time to time for farmers at a cheap interest rate. Okay, this encourages the what farmers to get loans So agriculture cooperative societies were established instead to encourage the what to call peasants to achieve the increased food production. And last is local self-governments, establishment of local self-governments. Okay, because locally, if people carry their own government, it would encourage the farmers and cooperatives to work in collective manner. So at village level, villages can identify easily what are the issues they are suffering. If power is given to the local people, they work collectively to solve the problems instead. So establishment of local self-government would ensure the land reforms would be carried out. Okay, if the at national level, if it is announced land reforms to be carried out at a local level, so there is need of power to the local authorities to implement land reforms in a wholehearted manner. So local self-governments will make land reforms to be carried out in a effective manner, and the cooperatives will work according to the collective interest of all the peasants in the village. Villages will work, villages will get loans from the cooperative banks instead. So it is very essential. So anyway, we see that this is the three components adopted by the Nehru government for increasing the food production. But here one drawback is there, that is land reforms were not implemented in a proper manner. Land reforms were carried with a half-hearted manner. There was no complete efforts in land reforms. So implementation of land reforms were failed in India. Instead, it is implemented half-hearted manner. Means they have not focused on implementing land reforms effectively. Second is that Jamindari system was abolished successfully. Okay, whereas redistribution of land to the landless people also did not take place properly. So the rich and powerful Jamindars in rural area, they continued to control most of the land. According to the Land Sealing Act, their limited land was given for everyone. That means Land Sealing Act made an upper limit for the land. So in order to protect 1,000 acres of land in the hands of Jamindars, Jamindars have managed their lands by following a cheap trick. That means, for example, Jamindars have stated that whatever the lands they have under their ownership, that they transform to their wives, and advocated that they have given divorce to the wives. Wives were living separately, so that they shown that limited land they have under their control. Some of the lands they transform to their servants. Most of these servants are uneducated. They taken the thumb symbol of the servants on white paper. On that white paper they have written that these lands belongs to servant, and that paper was with Jamindar only. So like these tricks they followed, and tried to control most of the land to be under their control. Understand? So land reforms were not carried in a proper way. Those were not effective. And the Dalits, those are SCs and STs who are landless, they did not get benefit from the abolition of forced labor. They have got very little benefit. Understand? Untouchability was abolished. We have seen, as untouchability was abolished, there Dalits also treated equally with all the people. But they did not get land, because to bring the poor status of the Dalits to the equal status, we have made our constitution to show economically equal status. So to bring equal society, it is essential that Dalits also should come to that stage. So there, the constitution have given that to redistribute the land to the landless people, to remove inequalities in the land distribution. Earlier, land distribution was not equal. Those jamindars, landlords, dorras, those were very few in number. With them, there were thousands of acres of land, and majority of the people are common peasants. With them, there was no land or very little piece of land. So, land was not distributed properly before to the independent India. So, to avoid this imbalanced distribution, unequal distribution of land, there the Nehru government brought land reforms. So these land reforms have not benefited to the Dalits instead. So here the first 5 year plan, it focused on improving the agriculture. How to improve the agriculture? Much of the land should come under agriculture, first thing. Second thing is that vast land should be irrigated. So for irrigation, dams have to be constructed. So under first 5 year plan, to improve the food production, agriculture was given much importance. Funds allotted on development of the agriculture and agriculture related activities, like construction of the dams and electricity. So in the first 5 year plans, many large dams were constructed to irrigate the what agriculture land and to supply the electricity for what you call providing irrigation. So there they focused on what to call building large dams. Dams benefited to the both sectors, industries and agriculture. Agriculture have got irrigation by constructed dams, and industrial sector also got water supply from the dams, and also electricity produced by dams also supplied for industries which are running on power. So power is very essential for industries. So industries and agriculture both have what to call benefited with the constructed dams. Though there was an increase in agriculture production by focusing on agriculture, still there is not sufficient food to meet the needs of the population. Population growing very fast, and the food production was not increasing in that rate to meet the what needs of the population. So the planners, that means the development of India who planned here, what to call the leaders who planned, they felt that our country to develop very fast. So for development of India, industries are very essential. So they felt that the focus from agriculture to be shifted to industries. So the planners have felt that it was very essential to develop industries which will what to call develop India very fast. Understand? So they have turned their focus to industries. Industries were established in the towns. Okay, there people also moved to work in the factories instead. So in the second 5-year plan, they have focused on industries. So in second 5-year plan, much importance was given to industries instead. This what to call a very basic thing for economic development of India instead. During that time, foreign policy also very important. When our India turned to independent nation, at world there was a Cold War.